wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and we're starting the final week of the National Championship season with the finals of the Croatia Online Carcassonne Championship 2025 between Zvonimir Vlaic with a screen name Bluste and Tomislav Buhinicek with a screen name Tompa99. We started with 23 players early on, divided into groups. 4 players qualified to the playoffs. I'm gonna not name every player. You can have a brief look at them. I'm just gonna scroll down and scroll down and scroll down and scroll down. And I'm gonna open the playoff bracket for you. As you can see, Bluste, who is the only player to have achieved the rank of master in Croatia, successfully defeated Lilium 5-1 in the quarterfinals, and also defeated a bit less successfully but still successfully Buha 4-4, who happens to be the brother of Tompa99, and now Tompa99 will try to exert his revenge. Tompa has had a flawless play-up so far, defeating Amasiunkolo 2-0, defeating Vega Orion 2-0. That's the match that we actually happened to watch a few days ago. And this is it, a best of 3 happening in 4 minutes for all the marbles. If you look at the players' profiles, you would normally expect Bluste to be the favorite just because of the reputation and achievements. Their most notable is probably the silver medal at the 2025 Mindsports Olympiad. Very neat rating of 555 at the moment after 5,000 games and 72% win rate. So, of course, very experienced, very solid. And for Tomislav, almost 5,000 games of experience, slightly lower rates of 70%. But look at this juicy rating of 650, very close to the player's peak. And even though they haven't technically been a master yet, look at this, highest ELO 698, so just 2 points away from the coveted 700. That was actually a very quick intro. I don't really have all that much to say. Oh, I guess I want to address one more thing before we start, is that you can see that the name of the championship, it's technically not Croatian Online Championship, it says Croatian Carcassonne Autumn League, but it's basically the same thing. So the idea is there are 2 events which are part of one big Croatian National Online Championship. There's the Croatian Spring Carcassonne League, and there's the Croatian Autumn Carcassonne League. And then whoever wins the Spring League and the Autumn League are supposed to meet together with in the grand finals. But as luck would have it, it is one of the finalists, namely Bluste, who has already won the Spring League. And now if they also win the Croatian Autumn League, then they will be declared already Croatian Online Champion, because there is no need to play a grand final between himself and himself. If Bluste loses today, then technically Tompa is going to be the champion of the autumn part of the tournament, and since Bluste was the champion of the spring part, then the 2 are going to play again on a different date in a grand final. And basically all this means is that Bluste has like an extra chance. So in order for Tomislav to become the Croatian National Online Champion, he will need to defeat Bluste in 2 best of 3 encounters, and the first of these best of 3 encounters we are going to show today. It is, of course, worthy to note that Tompa is the national champion of Croatia and in-person Carcassonne, and Zvonimir was the national champion 2 years ago, and maybe last year too. I don't quite remember, but 2 years ago they were the national champion for sure. Alright, now I think it's enough for an intro. Let me just refresh things. And we're going to start in just 1 minute or so. Oh yeah, we have all the info here, right? So of course. So Croatian national champion in both 2023 and 2024. And then in 2025, they were the 3rd place at the national championship, and Tompa 991. So that's the history for you. The game has started. We can see that Tompa is in good shape, 100 rating points above his slightly more experienced opponent, but it is Bluste who gets himself the green meeples and the starting player advantage, and is thus a slight statistical favorite here in that particular game. So a green meeple goes on a city. The standard response here is to obstruct the city whilst meepling the road. Yellow, of course, knows this. And the standard move here is actually a very unusual opening. The standard response here is to do a self-invasion. So this is a very volatile position, very high risk, high reward, but you sort of have to go here just because it's really best. There isn't any other move that is not actively counterproductive. So the idea is this: you go here and you have to meeple the city with another one. Yeah, there we go. So Bluste does so reluctantly. And now we can see that green already has 5 points in these here 2 cities, which are going to double to become 10 points once the city has been completed. And so now really it's either this city going to be completed, or Tompa somehow is going to manage to block that city later, and it's going to turn into some sort of big ruin. But Bluste is going to play with a 2 meeple minority. And we can see straight away Yellow is trying to block green city. Green gets a fantastic tile. Yellow, of course, is going to continue blocking. And now green cannot do anything about this. And so this is quite a critical position that's going to be resolved soon enough. Now, there is a strong move here. Of course, we don't continue the city like this because we're going to get immediately blocked towards the square. But this was not the strongest move. The strongest move, in fact, was to go over here. There are a few reasons for this. And we already see this. We already see the reasons, actually. So the reason why you're supposed to go here with the city cap as Bluste is that in the event your opponent draws a road, which is super, super likely, then if you get any other city tile, you can place it over here at the top, obstructing this here square. And if you obstruct this here square, then you don't let your opponent finish your city. And the longer you don't let your opponent finish their city, then the longer they won't be able to create an attacking platform against this square. And look at this, now Bluste is already in a bit of a bind. That's actually a Zugzwang tile. He's forced to make his position slightly worse with it. Tompa now is going to go, okay, that's interesting. That's actually very interesting, yeah. So instead of continuing his city and creating a blocking platform here, he first of all wants to take off this here meeple. There are only 2 tiles that's left into this square. 2 daggers like this. And it could be annoying for Bluste, but actually, it's not so annoying. I think what they can do, they can just go here, pre-build this 6-point city, and if they get the dagger, they just score for it very, very quickly. But I think this move for Bluste is like, it's okay, it's whatever, but there were some stronger things available. Okay, so finally Tompa does create the blocking platform, and Bluste gets a defense tile, so that's very fortunate for him. But now this square is a little bit restricted. Tompa can still try to block. He's going to pick up the 4 points first. He's already 12 points ahead on the scoreboard. So these here cities are feeling a little bit vulnerable. Bluste now cannot go over here and start obstructing Yellow City because he will be obstructing the city of his own. The best move is probably just to start a 3-point road and live to see another day. Hi Glavier, hi Helge. Tompa with some more quick points, already 14 ahead on the scoreboard. Interesting move from Bluste. He's kind of self-restricting this city a little bit, and the idea is to deny his opponent an invasion platform. I believe if you're gonna make this idea, then a slightly different orientation was better with this curve. Just because already Bluste does need city plus road tiles in a couple of places, so he might want to be better off setting up a city plus field tile. The first monastery of the game goes to green. Red, of course, immediately attacks. Green cannot do much about it. Maybe actually we can go here and build up our part of the city, and we can even block the square in the future. Yes, we can trap 2 meeples of our own in response to having our opponents trapped just with 1 meeple, but then we're going to have so many points that that extra trap meeple is going to be totally worth it. Alright, so the second monastery of the game goes to Tompa. Forgoes a 3-point road here just to have the 5 points of the monastery. Bluste is now trying to block, and look how timely this is. This is why you take care of those empty monastery spots. Now Tompa is forced to go here for 3 points and wait for a valuable city cap for the square instead of going here for 6 points and setting up even a 3rd monastery. And finally, Bluste gets to finish his city on one side. There are now 5 tiles remaining that fit into the square. And that is like a 97, 98, I think, or even more % chance of drawing this tile at some point in the game. So that's a decent position here for Bluste now. He'll be picking up 16-ish points after finishing his city. And he also, what he wants to do is pick up this road as well. So if I'm Bluste, I'm actually looking to get myself a road tile and probably meeple this road in advance. Because from Yellow's perspective, with any road tile, Yellow is going to meeple this road himself. Bluste now here with a lovely Ukrainian technique, meeples this 2-point city, but of course the main idea is to control this here square. Green is going to go like this, and green is going to decide whether or not they choose to complete the city a little bit later. So this is a very nice decision, but now we have a problem of blue running out of meeples a little bit, right? Because ideally what blue wants to do is to go here and meeple this road in order not to allow Tompa meepling this road, but how exactly do you do that if you have only 1 meeple in hand? You really need meeples for things, but then when I look at this position, like, what do you really need meeples for? There aren't any quick points to be scored. The crossroads you can already use on the road. I guess you can set up a monastery, and that does make some sense. There's still 3 monasteries remaining, and this is exactly what he does. Tompa now needs to decide whether it's worth invading, and he does invade the city, and he does accidentally help continue the monastery of green. So that's nice for green, but now green has a fantastic tile. It could be used here for 2 points, but I don't think it's worth it. I think it's better to do exactly like this. Yes. So we don't meeple the road, of course, but we make sure that we cover it up so that our opponent cannot meeple it, and when we get the road Dorito tile, then we score the road ourselves. And given the fact that there's so many of these tiles, I'll be very curious to see what Yellow does if Yellow draws the road Dorito himself that fits into that square. Wait, do I understand correctly from the chat? That I'm messing up colors again. Of course I am. Of course I am. Whoa, Bluste now making the first mistake of the game. I think it is not worth doing, and he's now going to put himself in a bit of a bind. Like, why can't blue... why can't green just score 2 points like a normal person? Instead, they have to go for this. And now they're going to lose both their monastery spots and their meeple over here. And you see, here's the reason. So, like, if they were to just score 2 points somewhere here or here, then after this here move by Tompa, Bluste could have actually used this curve to defend both of this monastery square and this here square as well. But now this here meeple is permanently blocked, so this is an element of greed which doesn't quite pay off. Also, I'm quite paranoid. Can you tell me, can you see the drawings well enough? Alrighty, Bluste is going to probably add a couple points to his city. Or maybe if he's feeling extra extravagant, he can go here with his last meeple and commits himself to this here invasion, trying to win a majority on a 12-point city like this. This would not necessarily be a bad move, but this move makes a bit more sense, keeping a meeple. Ideally, of course, at Bluste, this is some sort of an awkward tile that you're placing here. Ideally, you want to fill these two squares with Doritos. Now, Bluste is going to need to do like this and something a bit weirder, but okay, we can live with that. So, what does Bluste do here? Yeah, this block makes a lot of sense. There are only 3 crossroad tiles remaining. And at the very least, the road is going to be shortened. Tompa just is building both monasteries. Bluste cannot really obstruct either of these monasteries. Still a rough position for Green, because Green is behind on the scoreboard, and despite the fact that Green is going to be ahead on the scoreboard after drawing one of his critical tiles. Oh, this one's interesting. Despite the fact that Green's going to be ahead, Yellow has already done all the work by dropping this here farmer, doing some prophylaxis work, and then this field is going to be not 6 points, but at least 9 points, because this city is going to become part of this field. You all know the drill. Monastery here for Bluste, and it is an unfortunate tile because now it no longer goes into this square. But had Bluste been not so greedy with this 4-point road, this road meeple would not have been under threat, and he would have been able to use the curve here for protection. And then he would have been able to use this monasteries here for 8 points. So this stuff, it all adds up. Interesting move from Bluste. I think it's being a little bit impatient, although I can understand very well and very dearly. He decides to drop a farmer for just 3 points, with the idea that he wants to later draw the tile that fits into the square and invade this here field, or at least equalize the field here. The problem, of course, is that he's not going to have a meeple in hand to claim the 6 points for the road. That's going to be a big loss. And what I think he wants to do, first of all, he wants for Tompa not to keep drawing these here tiles like this. And he wants to draw one of those soon enough. But then ideally he wants to draw a city cap for this square, then get a meeple back, and then draw this here tile. That would give him the requisite points for the road. And Tompa just keeps drawing these Doritos. Now only 2 of those remaining in the deck. So a 25% chance already of a complete fiasco for Bluste. Tompa just keeps munching on those quick points as he can afford that with his meeple majority, but finally a little bit of something for the last year's national champion as well. Presumably 4 points are going to come down. It's not worth... Well, is it worth dropping a farmer, actually? That's an interesting question. No! He says he wants to go for a bigger city. That's very interesting. Now his plan, that he wants to invade here with a regular Dorito, of which there's 0 remaining. Actually, I really doubt this move. Actually, the more I think about this, the more I think that this move is really bad. And I think this move comes from the place of, oh, like, I need to do something, I'm behind. But it never really works, does it? So first of all, this city is permanently blocked. So that already is quite annoying to deal with. Tompa now is going to go here and drop a farmer probably for 6 points, trying to overtake the main field. He's not going to even bother finishing this road. Not going to bother here with 4 points. If green invades here city, green is doing completely fine because this square of the city is completely blocked. The city is going to be worth around 10, 11 points, but it's not going to be completed. And 11 points is something that yellow, with his scoreboard lead and his monasteries, can absolutely withstand. Oh, look at this. So he does bother with 4 points. I guess he figures he can invade the field a little bit later. Bluste doesn't have a lot of options now, really. Just covers up some field invasions at the top. That is a productive move. But then lots and lots of value has been lost by the former national champion. And I believe they're just going to spiral down to a loss real quick here. Ouchie, ouchie. Oh, this is so painful. This is a complete block. A complete block. Because there are no triple cities that are left here. The tile counting of Tompa is very solid. A spectator is about to comment something in the chat as Tompa keeps munching on those quick points, adding 4 to his scoreboard as well. Bluste is getting quite unlucky having to wait for ages for this here tile. But you know, in Carcassonne, like in life, bad luck sometimes shows you who you really are. So how are you going to deal with those tough circumstances? And Bluste chose to deal with them by placing his last meeple for 1 point. Just to rub it in, Tompa gets the penultimate Dorito tile for 3 further quick points. There's now only 1 tile that's left to fit into this square. Man. Bluste got royally euphemismed. Let's call it like this. Okay, finally. Bluste is gonna get the magic tile on his last move. Not that it's even that good for him, because he's gonna need to share his big field of 12 points with his opponent's smaller field. Now, a witty comment in the chat is about to happen. Finally, says Bluste. Yeah, it's actually very annoying, so he's not gonna get himself any 6 points for the road, and he will not be able to use the meeple that he had in hand. So he's not going to be able to use the meeple that is going to come back to his hand. The 2 meeples, actually, from the completion of the city. And the reason why green has not placed this tile in the magic square yet, over here, is because, well, we don't know if it's even good for him. He just needed to count a little bit. So, of course, he's getting more points from completing this city compared to what he's losing by unifying the farms. So by unifying the farms, he's unifying his 12-point farm, so this is his side, with his opponent's 6-point farm, so this is his side. Like, he's losing 6 points. But from the city was worth 7, and now it's worth 18, so the city is worth, this move is worth plus 12, and minus the field. So basically that was a way to score 6 points from Bluste net. Those of you who followed what I said, well done. Those of you who didn't, just trust me on this one. Now, so very rough draw for the Spring League champion, and maybe Tompa is on the way to something. All he needs to do is win now, and then just win another of those best of 3s. It's not such a big deal. Alrighty, they are jumping straight into the rematch. No need for breaks. I assume that Bluste is already massively on tilt, and when you're on tilt, you don't want to do any breaks. You just want to play. Quick points. Alrighty, so Tomislav is now the starting player, starting with 4 points. Zvonimir here with the best move, I believe, starting a new city. This is one of those rare instances where actually starting a new city on the same side of the starting road as the first completed city is actually good. It just has to do something with some blocking opportunities, basically. I will go into that a little bit later if we have time. Both players, of course, know their openings. Bluste is now about to finish his city soon. He has this 10-point setup available for him. He has this meeple here for insurance. Tompa is playing now not so aggressive. I think it's fine, but as Tompa, actually, I would have preferred to go here. I would have preferred to, yeah, exactly because of this. So now, Tompa, of course, wants to solidify his first 4-point road first, but it gives Bluste a chance to score 3 points for this here road from this empty road end. The first monastery of the game goes to yellow. It's absolutely beautiful. An early farmer, or as some players like to call them, a Neymar, is lying on the grass, pretending that it is wounded. And it is actually quite a good farmer. Like, there's a lot of potential in that field. There's already 1 completed city, 2 completed cities waiting to happen, a lot of green squares. So it's no wonder that Zvonimir chooses to invade this field instantly. Tomislav, with not such an easy decision. He has a tile which has a standard move, and that is going over here and starting a new city, despite the fact that it is a bit awkward looking. But this is also quite interesting. I don't like it, because, well, Bluste just gets himself 2 extra points. But then on the other hand, it can be quite interesting, right? So this meeple is severely restricted. There are only 3 tiles that fit into this square, and it is not unreasonable to assume that Tompa is going to have at some point a full blocking attempt to build this square. So that's an interesting decision. Abiding by the principle of 2 cities now, starting a new city with the intent of finishing it and dropping a farmer. This city is going to be finished later. Bluste is starting a city further on the left. It's just, there's a political joke there somewhere. I just don't see it. I'm a little bit too tired. Tompa is now continuing with his blocking idea. That's actually quite lovely. Well, lovely for Tompa, not so much for Bluste, who just continues his city on the left, and it is quite likely that green will be losing his meeple over here eventually, but not right now, as a blocking tile is not in Tomislav's hands. Instead, yellow scores a couple of points. Bluste now finishes the city and drops a second farmer, is already 11 points ahead on the scoreboard. Now he's gonna get himself a monastery at some point. Also, Tompa being quite conservative here, so he chose to block with a shielded tile, which is correct, but I would expect him to go over here and start a new city in addition to block this here city of green. But I can understand Tompa very, very well. So he has a particular strategy here. He knows how to play those meeple majorities. So the idea is this: first, at the expense of some scoreboard points, we block our opponent's meeple, and then, now that we have the majority, the long-term majority, because assuming that eventually we're going to finish this monastery or whatever, then we're going to abuse that majority to win a big field battle. So eventually this here field, which is currently worth only 6 points somehow, it is going to expand. Possibly a road monastery is going to go here by either party for a 3-point road. Then What else is going to happen? Well, something along those lines, right? Road Monastery. This is a very interesting idea. Okay, so Bluste is now suddenly looking very good. No big field fight is about to happen, and we're equal on blocked meeples, and you know why? So Bluste was trying to block the square. Tompa defended towards the last vanilla city cap tile, and since the vanilla city cap tile was drawn right now, there's actually nothing that's fit into that square. It's quite unusual that not even half the game has passed, but 5 of these vanilla tiles are already on the board. So this means that this meeple is completely blocked, and this meeple is very closely to being blocked because there's only one tile that fits here to separate it, right? The one splitter like this. So I think eventually Bluste wants to use a tile like this to go over here and make sure that this meeple never comes back. No! What are you doing, Zvonimir? Zvonimir! I mean, the monastery, the road monastery is good, of course. The idea is oh boy. The idea, of course, is that we're like building a field onto the left. Because this square is blocked, the fields are never going to merge. Our opponent has a smaller field on the right with only 2 completed cities and not many green squares. We have a field with 3 completed cities and a lot of green squares. So like this field is fantastic. But the main issue is, why do we burn a meeple for 8 points? Normally, of course, it's very good, but we know that this meeple is never going to see the light of day. And there's still 28 tiles left to play, and again Zvonimir has left himself without a meeple, as if it has worked wonderfully for him the first time. And now it looks like green is going to suffer, because this here meeple is now precariously placed. It is actually quite tempting to now go here and to try YOLO it, hopefully that we don't get blocked and we can finish this here city, but I wouldn't recommend it necessarily. We can go here, just drop city caps on our farmer. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Also, interestingly, Tomislav gets himself the last Rhodes Dorito tile. So now the only type of tile that fits here is this here cow tile, a horse tile rather, of which there's only 1 remaining. And look at this. Bluste's lack of meeple here already cost him 4 points because he does not have a meeple to meeple the square. Is now going to cost him some more. Of course, he can go here and continue his road. That's something. But yeah, just a hasty move again. He's going to have another meeple blocked in this square. Even if he doesn't, this city is actually very close to unfinishable. As Tomislav, you can score 4 points here, or you can go for the block directly. He chooses to go with 4 points because he needs to catch up on the scoreboard. Zvonimir now has at least something going for him. He gets himself an indirect defense. At least he's not going to get blocked immediately. And technically, the city can even be completed. So, as Bluste, do we go over here and we still try and get ourselves a horse tile and a rose tile, perhaps, to complete a city for 12 points or even more? Or do we just take 3 instant points over here? And Zvonimir went for the principled response, which I quite like. So far, only 4 points lost due to his monastery meeple over here. Tomislav now with an interesting tile. He can either use it for quick points here, he can use it here to free up his road meeple, or he can use it here for blocking, which I do like. Even though it's only a 50-50 block, as there is still 1 tile that fits into this square, it does eliminate a lot of options for Bluste. Namely, it does eliminate the 3 roses that otherwise would fit into the square. But the city is still technically alive. 1 of these here daggers is available, and a blocking attempt is made, and Bluste needs to make a decision now. So the normal move is to go here for 4 points. Or the slightly less normal move is to go here, perhaps even with the city cap facing down, if I'm counting tiles correctly. And try to make an indirect defense of the square. Bluste decides to take the point. His idea is that he thinks that he can afford this here square to get blocked, because if he gets the horse tile, which is still a big if, he's still going to get some 7 points for this city, even if it's not completed. Bluste is doing all right. He has 1 meeple and 10 points on the scoreboard. It's not a bad position to be in. Sorry, 13 points on the scoreboard. 1 meeple of 10 tiles remaining. A bigger field here for 12 points compared to Tomislav's field for 6. There is, however, a concern in this here area where Tompa has a city brewing. If Tompa gets the combination of exactly splitter tile plus something like this maybe, or something like the last regular Dorito, then Tompa can still finish the city. Not going to do it right now, not going to do it later, as the last Dorito tile has been just drawn by Bluste, so a sigh of relief. Technically, should be his reaction. It's not over though, because this here tile would have fit nicely here for green. And if Tomislav gets himself another one of those horses, he can score some quick points. We have spectators chatting in the type again. So, Zvonimir, what are we having? Are we placing our last meeple again for content? Going over here, hoping for a city cap soon enough. That might be not even that crazy. Or, oh, you know, I know, no, that is not bad. But I think there was something better. I think we could have gone here and trying to set up a weird 6-point city. Basically, we hope to get a rose for 2 points, and then we get a city cap, and we make like a 6-point city like this in this area. Let me try and draw it a little bit. So rose like this, and some sort of city cap. Let's say another rose like this. That could have worked, but the play with the green meeples decided that it's not even necessary. Oh, and look at this! Tompa is not going to go here for 4 points. He decides that he's too far behind and he needs to risk a little bit harder. And so he splits from this here area, and he's trying to get a Dorito, which doesn't exist anymore, to finish his city. But what does exist is a combination of triple city plus city cap. And that's why Bluste is trying to block that combination. Tomislav now has very interesting options. Yes, this is an excellent move. He's now taking 2 points and also setting up a 6-point city in his field. Bluste now, of course, needs to go here or here to try and break that setup, as there are still city caps that exist. This was also a much-needed triple city for Tomislav, who now just has nothing. I guess the best that he can do is scoring here. 1 point. Or, 4 points for the city in his opponent's field, which nets him 1 point. It's the same thing. So either like this or like this. So minus 13 is yellow on the scoreboard. He's minus 6 on the fields. That's already 19. Yeah, and there's just not enough stuff on the board on these here ruins and this here road to compensate for 19 points. So certainly respectable effort here for Tomislav. I wonder if there was another way, maybe going over here for 4 points, then here for 4 points, then maybe here for 3 points. That's like 11. Then we get a triple city. We get 3 or 4 extra. Still seems not quite enough. So it's a respectable effort to go over here. Still highly, highly, highly blockable, but you have to do something, of course. And Tomislav is now going to come up with some sort of swindle. That's nice. That's very, very nice. He's trying to set up an 8-point city. Bluste does not really have many things that he can do. However, a wonderful thing that he can do is he can go over here and restrict that city a little bit, although it doesn't really do anything, does it, right? What is the last city cap remaining? Oh. I'm losing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has to be some sort of a dagger. I'm just thinking which one. Oh yeah, so it totally works. So if we go here, then we block. No, we don't block. Ah, that's the problem. That's the problem. So we have to go here if we want to block this 8-point setup. But I hate to give up points if, like, because I can just go here as well and score 2 points and allow my opponent to score 6 if he can. Yeah, so I believe that one of the remaining tiles is a dagger like this, and I'm pretty sure I'm right now that I've looked at this board several times. Our enthusiastic spectator is typing something in the chat yet again. Perhaps spilling some hot liquid on their keyboard. Try not do that at home. Be careful with your hot liquids. Keep them a meter away. Bluste has 50 seconds remaining on the clock. He's just trying to calculate what is more important. Blocking the city cap and not allowing a fluke scenario where his opponent gets to score 8 points on the penultimate move and then maybe 6 on the last move. Or do we just take 2 points and score? Wait. Oh, that's interesting. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to me. So if we're gonna... I think it's again as a result of a miscount, right? Yeah, exactly. Because like if you're gonna block... If you're gonna block the city here, why do you need to drop a farmer in that instance? Because the farmer is only worth 3 points, and there are ways to score so much more. I think I understand. Maybe because Bluste now has a way to score points without investing a meeple. He can go here for 2 points by prolonging his road. Or he can go here at the top by unifying his road. Yeah, that works totally fine. Tomislav wishes he had that style in hand. He could have gone here for... a 6-point city, instead only 3 points for Tomislav. So losing the final coin flip was going to cost him 3 points. I don't believe it mattered. Yeah, so this here move by Bluste is fine. It's like one of the ways to win the game. As long as you block the square correctly. Like, so all you need to do is just not allow your opponent to draw the city cap and score 8 points instantly. And this here farmer is just... Yeah, you know what? That is a good farmer now that I think about this, because it prepares Bluste for the worst eventuality. The worst eventuality is Tompa drawing this here tile and then the dagger. This would leave Bluste with a simple curve, and with a simple curve, Bluste can score 2 points over here. In any case, it was just a matter of spread, a matter of point difference. With that block of the city alone, Bluste had secured himself the win, so now, fortunately and interestingly, we are headed to the decider. Exactly what we want. Bluste 1, Tompa 1, and away we go. Who is going to win the league and the championship? Zvonimir has a fantastic position as the starting player. Has already a 4-point road, now is going to support it with a 5-point monastery in a beautiful location for this sort of opening. Of course, looking to get some tiles to loop the road all the way around the monastery. Tomislav, however, is the only of the two players to have scored points for this here road on his like first or second move. This is quite interesting. I'm not a huge fan of that move. I think it's a bit underwhelming use of that tile, but you know, it makes some sense. It makes some sense. It's not bad. It just happens not to work in this particular instance. I generally, in the opening, I like to use this tile as a crossroads wherever I can, and there were these beautiful 3 points available, which I do want to take away. Zvonimir is now building around his monastery, but we have a very interesting board. Look, barely any tiles have been played, and now 5 crossroad tiles have already gone out, so only 3 of the crossroads remaining, and this means that the players will need to really switch their thinking when it comes to blocking roads and building roads safely. So, for example, normally these here 4-point roads are very, very safe. Now it's still okay to do them, but I wouldn't call this one safe one bit. This one's actually not safe at all. So Zvonimir, yeah, just continues his own road. He's going to set up the completion of the monastery, which has already been basically equalized by the second monastery, which has been drawn by Tompa. Tompa now is going to get himself a scoreboard lead by finishing a city of 4 points. Zvonimir is going to probably equalize one of these cities at the top. I mean, this city, obviously, not the other one. Yeah, a pretty normal move. Getting the 2 points extra, and Tomislav now does not want to finish his road. He wants to fight for Zvonimir's road. I can see that backfiring pretty quickly. I think it's basically not worth it. Like, the road is just not long enough. I mean, the move is okay, but like, if Bluste goes here, which he absolutely should for many, many reasons, and then we don't draw a curve immediately, then a straight line against this square could be devastating. And yeah, of course, Zvonimir does not that. Sure, yeah, we can play like this too. It's fine. What I don't like about it is that the probability of getting himself a blocking tile is lower than it normally would be. So let's see what he draws. Yep, told ya, told ya, told ya. Told ya, told ya, told ya. So, had Bluste turned this tile the other way, he could have used this crossroads over here, making it super, super devastating, leaving only one tile that fits into the square. Now, he's still going to have a decent use for this crossroads. He could just score 2 points over here and get himself a monastery meeple back, but not... No, I can't watch this. Zvonimir, what are you doing? This is rather painful. It's not a good move. It's not a good move at all. It's quite a big mistake by Zvonimir here. Basically, the issue here, your opponent has 2 meeples tied to this square, and you have 1 meeple tied to this square. So it is in your benefit to not put anything in that square and hope that your opponent puts something into the square. So we shouldn't really be putting anything into the square, even if it gives us a few points. But it's not even like that many points to begin with. So really not a fan of this move here by Zvonimir, but it ends up working sort of kind of temporarily. Tompa is going to struggle a little bit with his roads, but not that much. Not that much. Tompa now uses his meeple to pick off an empty city cap. Bluste is now the first one on the field. And I guess the issue for Tompa is just having these here meeples here, but it's not forever. It's not forever. Like, this guy has a route over here at the bottom through straight lines and a bunch of curves. Zvonimir is now going to try and break it. Yeah. Like this? But why can't we just go here, for example, or here? I'm not a fan of this move, because now look at this. The penultimate crossroad is drawn by Tompa, and now it is Bluste who has the problematic meeple. Like, there's actually only 2 road ends that fit into that square, and these road ends are road monasteries anyway, which both players need, of course, in this here area where all the monasteries are. And this game could very well be decided by meeple count, because there are now a lot of fields. There's, of course, this 9-point field that green owns. There's this 9-point field, soon to be 12-point field, that yellow owns. Both of the fields are potentially attackable. This one like this. This one, of course, like this. The fields could merge. And basically, whoever has what I was going to say... more meeples long term has a big advantage in the field fight. But look at this. Bluste very timely gets himself an 8-point monastery and a 9th point and a meeple back straight away. The strategy of Tompa is, of course, to draw city caps and finish city and drop more farmers. Bluste now finishes a farmer, now is ahead on the scoreboard. Tomislav finally consolidates his meeples, finishes the loop road started so long ago. There's still a 3-point road to be picked up. Only -5 now down for Tompa. Bluste will be waiting for this here meeple for a long time. Scoring now for city caps. The field here are united. Tompa has not connected yet, but eventually there's going to be a majority. And you know what? Tompa can do this. Sure, that's fine. There was another way. There was a way to go here and double down, hope for the road monastery. He decides to not do such a high variance approach. Bluste 9 points ahead on the scoreboard. He now knows that this meeple will be inevitably penetrating the field through one of the 4 remaining curves, but Bluste chooses to not take quick points, which surprises me a little bit. I think it's not the precisest idea. Instead, he chooses to neutralize this here guy, which I can see where he's coming from, but overall, in the long term, unless Bluste draws a road monastery like super quick, or some sort of combo that gives him meeple back very soon, then I feel like green should be suffering here. Just because of that meeple majority, just because of that big field, and a meeple is all but lost, as there's only 1 tile remaining that fits into this square, only 1 lone dagger, and even after that, we barely have any road ends left. 3 points, of course, for Bluste puts him in already a solid lead on the scoreboard, and this can be a bit of a saving grace for the player with the green meeples, is that by scoring these quick points and having this 3 points extra, he can try and win the game without the field, and I think he knows this pretty well, so he is going for a fieldless win. And look at this, so timely before Bluste actually did get the last dagger that fits into the square, but these city tiles made a permanent block, so this meeple is now truly never going to see the light of day. And from Bluste's perspective, I think all we're going to do is just score. The issue with that is that this field here just controls the entire board. So there's no good place to start a new city which isn't directly or indirectly already part of said field. So we can't go at the top. We can go here, but that's a vulnerable square. Here's a vulnerable square. Here is a non-starter. Here is also, looks like it's a different field, but it's gonna be eaten up eventually with just a couple of tiles. Yeah, a bit of a Zugzwang. We could also go here, which is technically not in our field, but then with the road monastery, there is another field. And Bluste drops a farmer, and in the long term, it shouldn't be working. Simply because, like, Tompa just has the meeples to strangle Bluste here. Simply by having one extra meeple, he is going to get himself an extra farmer at some point. So you see, Bluste now even not sure if he wants to connect to this here field. Because, like, he knows, okay, he's gonna connect and that's it. Like, yellow goes here and reconnect. And what does Bluste even do? Does he drop his last meeple? With two road monasteries still in the deck, that's kind of unwise. Because the longer these road meeples stay, then the longer... So basically, the longer they stay available, the more field options there are. Because you can just get a straight line, you can like drop a farmer like this, and then you can connect through a road monastery like overway that way. Tomislav finishes a shared city, drops a farmer over here. This allows Bluste to get himself a farmer of his own. And with that, not a horrible meeple disadvantage. And somehow, how did that possibly happen that Bluste managed to get himself at least temporarily a majority on the field? And now Tompa, I think I can see how Tompa can lose this game. 8 points monastery, me likely, me go over here. Then he gets blocked, and then he just gets outrun because Bluste has the scoreboard lead. So I could totally see that happening. I think in these sort of positions, like these 8 points, they're just not going to do all that much. So my options is either we take 3 points here and connect all the fields, or we do something like... We do something like here? No, we don't want to meeple this road either. Like, we just want to get our meeple in the field as soon as possible. And we also want to drop an extra farmer. Yeah, that's actually quite tough. So that's why maybe yellow should have thought twice before finishing a shared feature, because that just simply gives a meeple back to Bluste. I think that was actually quite a big mistake here. Yeah, because this... With the newly recovered meeple, Bluste was able to go over here. And I understand this move. It's a good move here by Tomislav, trying to invade over here in such a way which also sets up an additional farming opportunity, which is now going, of course, be killed off by Bluste, who is likely to go over here, or over here perhaps. I'm not sure which one's better. So Bluste's main hope is now consists of two factors. He does not have the long-term resources to fight for the field, but he still has the majority on it, and time is on his side. There are only 11 tiles remaining, so Tompa might not have the time to use his meeples to gain a majority, because he still needs to equalize first, and then drop another farmer, and then gain a majority, and that's a big if. Tompa now might need to have to make a regular move over here, just going for a completed city and then possibly dropping a farmer later. And this is a possible win condition for Tomislav. So how about we go here, we finish an 8-point city, we get a bit closer on the scoreboard, and then instead of equalizing the field, we just get the monastery as the last tile and we go for 8 points and we win by 1 point on the scoreboard. This is also an option. So if we go here and prioritize scoring points, then we could unlock ourselves another potential win condition, and that's why this move could be useful, right? We might not have to fight for that field. On the other hand, like, it just does not feel right to do in this position. But then what else do you do? I think I tried to just count the city caps and unfortunately see that there are not that many remaining. Okay, so there's one starting tile, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, there are a couple of daggers. One dagger, actually. Maybe that's good enough then. One starting tile, one dagger, one vanilla. 3 city caps. I think we have to go for it. It's not great, but maybe that's the idea. We go here, we finish the city. He chooses not to do it. I can understand him. So he purely prefers to go for the field. All right, field it is. Bring it on. High, small, red van. So, Zvonimir. You have now 2.5 minutes on your clock. And he was also probably using Tompa's time to calculate as well. What is he supposed to do with this information? I don't know. Is this time to drop the last meeple for the farm? I don't think so. Do we want to create a big field? I don't think so. I think we should allow our opponents to equalize, of course. And then we tried, yeah, I know, okay. The plan is for green. We actually try for the field to stay separate. We don't place anything over here. And the idea is, if the fields are not united, then ultimately we have only a 15-point field here, tied, and a 12-point field here, tied. And 15 points in some scenarios is actually not enough for Tompa to win the game, because 15 points is the lead of Bluste at the moment. 12 points on the scoreboard, plus don't forget the 3 points for this here road. And this move is solid. It kind of blocks some farming opportunities, basically saying that I think Tompa is going to need to draw the road monastery if he wants to win the game, and that's what it is. This Dorito tile is interesting. So it's not a field tile, and in that sense, it's unfortunate. We don't want to go here and drop a farmer like this because it gets blocked. But now it makes sense to start a new city. Because then, with 3 city caps remaining, we're threatening to finish the city and drop a farmer instantly. And it's a very big threat. And Bluste now kind of has to go here, I guess, and turn it that way. But then we still have, from Yellow's perspective, 1 starting tile with which we can finish the city for 10 points and meeple the 16-point road, and then we do win without the field. And I don't think Bluste wants that. Because this here move, that would give our opponent 2 critical tiles with which they can win. They either win with the starting tile, or they win with the road monastery because of field shenanigans. So believe it or not, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The move that I'm thinking here is actually going over here and continuing our opponent's city and dropping a farmer. But I don't think it quite works. And that's why I really like Bluste's move here. He will allow the completion of the city, which is a bit unfortunate. Tompa is going to finish the city, drop a farmer. But now the only way how he can connect over here is through a straight line or road monastery. And Bluste is not able to block the field connection. And now suddenly he's only 1 point ahead, provided that, of course, there is going to be field connection at some point. So what does he do now? What is his win condition? My first thought is that he just goes here for 7 points and simply tries to outrun. So the idea is this. Let's presume that... Oh, isn't that interesting? So, okay, so the idea is that Bluste, of course, is trying to set himself up as 7 points, an 8-point monastery. That's fine, but I was thinking of him just meepling the monastery with the idea that if our opponent connects to this field, then they might be able to connect only one of the 2 meeples. And if they only equalize the field, then we can still win with the monastery plus scoreboard lead. Now Tomislav has a very interesting decision. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 1 straight line available. So if he goes here and drops a farmer, that would be committing himself to like a super majority on the field for 15 points. with a 40% chance that he's going to draw the straight line. And this is not great, actually. Maybe Tomislav can go here and go for an indirect defense. And the idea is that now Bluste, if Bluste gets the Road Monastery, then he's going to go here for 0 points just to block this square. And Tomislav could prevent it by going over here. Let's say he does this. Bluste does something with the Road Monastery. Tomislav gets the straight line, equalizes the field, and on the last tile, let's say Tomislav gets the last remaining regular Dorito and goes here and gets the majority on this here field. Maybe that's doable, but with 11 seconds, 10 seconds, 9 seconds on the clock, Tompa just has to make a move. He has not calculated this. Okay, this is a reasonable move. It makes a lot of sense. Yes, trying to give yourself more connection opportunities makes total sense. It looks like the game just comes down to a Road Monastery. It looks like it's all about that sweet, sweet Road Monastery. Can Bluste make it not about the Road Monastery? Can he go over here and drop a farmer himself? Trying to equalize this here area? I don't think so, because then he gets outrun. He gets outrun. Because then Tompa just uses the Road Monastery to connect at the top. And he can... Wait a second, maybe that works. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, maybe it does. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting idea. He does it. He's going to drop a farmer or not. 25 seconds to make the decision. There are arguments for both situations, but it's not clear which one is correct. I think dropping might be able to outrun by like 1 point or so. He does it. Tomislav connects at the top and equalizes. And Bluste can just now connect over here at the bottom, right? No! He's gonna lose by a couple of points. He needs the Road Monastery to win. There's just no way around that. And Tomislav gets the Road Monastery, and Tomislav's gonna take this down! The fields are equal, but the 9 points for the Monastery is gonna win this game by 2. What a game. What a game. Actually, no, it's going to win this game by 1 because I forgot to count this mini battle at the top, which you must be screaming at me. No! Bluste gave this extra point to his opponent. I don't think this was the move. I think instead, Bluste should have scored 3 points by just completing this here city cap on his field. And then the game would still be tied, of course. And as a result, how do you say this? Basically, Bluste would have been raft. He would lose because he was the starting player. Wait, is this what's happening? No, Bluste is losing this by 1. Bluste is just losing this by 1, honorably. So they made a 1 point mistake. It's not such a big deal. Whew. Amazing. Amazing game. So Tompa takes this one down by 1 point, and he has the title. He has won the Autumn League. Tompa saying, again, the Road Monastery critical tile, but it wasn't, of course it was the critical tile, and we called this quite early, but it wasn't just this. I felt like overall Tompa managed to out-strategize his opponent a little bit. This farmer was quite extravagant, ended up working in the end, but I think the crucial situation occurred earlier. Like this game, when the position is this open, then meeple counts are everything. Bluste, first of all, used this crossroads to just score a couple of points extra, but help with the meeple situation of yellow. And then later, the move that was the blunder was starting a new road when there were barely any road ends left. Whereas Bluste could have gone over here essentially all but blocked Tompa's road, and then not getting his own road blocked. So eventually being at a long-term meeple disadvantage, despite some excellent attempts to deliver a swindle from Bluste's perspective. Despite those excellent attempts, it was just... Yellow was quite a big favorite for the most of the game, despite being down on the scoreboard. Yeah, very interesting position. And a lot of geometry involved each here. Platform. Tompa, congratulations on your... When you're playing your grand for Tompa was this one over here. Because I believe that if Tompa doesn't go for this 8-point city, doesn't try to make this 8-point city happen, then just not enough. So he needed these points and the threats of dropping a farmer with this configuration in order to... This here move, which I was suggesting, which I think was still good, was just the threat of an 8-point city, but not the threat of an 8-point city with a farmer, and that's why Yellow chose not to do that. Yellow went for 8 points, but 8 points which came with an additional threat of this here field platform. Just such a fascinating game. Wait, stream crashing? What's that about? No idea what that's supposed to mean. Anyway, so we'll probably be wrapping up. I was told earlier that the grand super finals or whatever, the rematch is going to happen on a different date, and I'm going to try to stream that. But that was it. That was the finals of the main part of the Croatian Autumn League. We congratulate Tomislav Buhinicek and congratulates to Zvonimir Vlaic to making it high, but commiserations on the second place. That's it. Let's wrap it up. Just remember to press all the good buttons. That would be helpful. And thank you all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.